listening to New Roads, New Rules, the podcast where women come together to navigate life's big transitions with honesty, humor, and a whole lot of heart. Here are your hosts, Sandi and Terri. Real women, real talk, and ready to ride.
But you're my bestie for life. Yeah, you're the family I choose. Yeah, you. The best till the end. We can get through this together.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Sandi. How are you today?
Hi, Terri. I am
Cold.
good. Always cold.
Warm?
Always cold. I can't wait till this winter is over already.
Me too. And we're not even through January yet. I'm done.
No, February. What do you think,
technically
January?
not yet. I'm done. But
I know.
But let's not think about that anymore.
I know.
Right now.
I know.
I want to start with something that's been hitting me a lot lately. I'm realizing that I still follow rules that I've actually never agreed to.
Same. Same.
I don't remember signing anything. I don't remember any onboarding happening. There was no handbook. And yet here I am acting like rules are legally binding. That,
Right.
You know, if I break this rule, something's going to happen.
Oh my gosh. And we're both Gen X, so nobody was checking in on us anyway. We were just raised to just figure it all out. So
That's right. Exactly. And I think that explains a lot about us. And everybody, the rules that I'm talking about, for those of you out there, what are you talking about? Rules like don't rock the boat, be polite even when you're uncomfortable, stick with what you chose. Don't change your mind too much because people get weird or they think you're flaky or you're being dramatic.
Right.
Honestly, I think half of my exhaustion comes from trying to be a low maintenance, agreeable, emotionally self-sufficient woman all of the time.
Right. Which is, which a lot of us really learned early that was the safest way to be, which is why we're still that way today. I mean, It's a hard habit to break, right?
It's a hard habit to break. And changing your mind somehow got you labeled again as being dramatic or flaky. I have blonde hair, that easily falls right into it.
Right.
But does that mean staying unhappy forever? Or is that just called being responsible?
Right. So let's talk about where these rules come from, right?
Yeah,
so a lot of this really comes from how we were socialized, especially women of our age, right? So there was a big emphasis on being adaptable, not needing too much, and being grateful for what you had.
Right.
So to quote a book called The Gifts of Imperfection by Brené Brown, is it Breen? I think it's Breen Brown.
I think it's Breen.
Yeah, but it's, we were never taught how to choose ourselves without guilt.
Exactly.
Isn't that true?
It is so true. Nobody ever sat us down and said, hey, here are the rules. They just kind of soaked in by osmosis from family dynamics, from work cultures that, we went through it growing up. Little comments like, are you sure you want to do that?
Oh, God. We still hear that today, right? And so
yes.
Research around emotional labor really backs that up, right? So women tend to take on responsibility for how things feel in a room, even when nobody asks them to.
Right.
What the heck is that?
I know, right? Why is it on us, right?
Right.
Which is why once you follow a rule long enough, it starts to feel like it's part of your personality, like being quiet. You're like, I'm not avoiding conflict. I'm just trying to be easygoing.
Right.
But no, I'm just tired. I'm just tired.
For sure. For sure. That's the thing. And nobody says that. That's
right.
That's why we're talking about this today.
That's exactly. This is where women do say, I don't know why I'm so tired. Meanwhile, we've been holding everything together, in the background. Our families were holding everything together and we wonder why we're so tired.
Right. For sure. And okay, I know I said this again. we're really good at minimizing it because that's Gen X. It's the I'll deal with it muscle, that's the muscle we're flexing. The I'll deal with it muscle.
I'll deal with it.
That muscle is really, I know, it's really strong. It's very strong.
Yes. I mean, that was the mindset that helped us survive, right?
Right.
But it doesn't help us thrive. I mean, I feel like we're always in survival mode because of that, instead of thriving.
Agree. I feel like that was my whole last year, right? So this is my year to thrive. But there is a book, The Dance of Anger by Harriet Lerner, that talks about how much resentment builds when women swallow their needs to keep the peace. And resentment is real. That resentment is real because I felt it. I didn't recognize it at the time, but I felt it. Oh,
absolutely. I mean, and then one day you wake up thinking, how did my life get so heavy when I've been doing everything right? Like I've been following those rules of doing everything right. So why is my life so heavy? And, again, the resentment goes with that. And it's not just in marriages. I mean, it's in friendships too,
For sure.
I tend to be the quiet one. Like, all right, fine, but then I end up like, oh, I can't deal with them anymore. I can't do it.
So today we're going to talk about unlearning these rules, right?
Right. Yeah. Let's at least trying to unlearn, right? Like, let's see if we can unlearn something here, Gen Xer. Let's name some of these because your body reacts before your brain does, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So some of the rules is don't take up too much space. Another rule is you should already have this figured out. Love that one.
Yeah.
This one I heard all of the time in my marriage. If you're capable, then you should do it all. Like you can handle it. Right. I don't know how many times, something would come up and, I just felt exhausted and would ask for help. And you could do it. You got two hands. You could do it yourself.
Right.
Okay.
Wow.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Rest has to be earned. Again, and if you change your mind, that means you failed. And it's funny because I still feel that about, I'm going through this change of, what I'm doing for a living. Right. And somehow in the back of my head, I've got it that I failed in one, because I just want something different. My life is changing. I'm in a new stage in life and I just want something different. But because I'm making this change, I feel like I've failed, although I haven't. I know.
You haven't. And how do you know that this change that you're making isn't for the better? That's what's going to make you the most successful out of everything you've done or tried or anything,
Right.
I just think, a few of these resonate with me as well. The changing your mind thing really hits home for me, but that you should have already figured it out. I honestly think I put that on myself. Nobody's told me that. I don't think anybody in my life has said, well, you should have already figured that out before I asked a question. But I feel like this intense, need to know really that, I should have known that. I find myself saying that more than I should probably.
I could definitely see that, and I don't think it's necessary. I think it's not so much that it's taught to us about that. It's more as we're conditioned. Again, I knew not to, I learned not to ask for help because you should figure that out. Figure it out for yourself. So it's like a condition. So now it's just like, I should have known better. I should have figured it out before I let this happen.
Right. Agreed. And
there's another one, aging means you're shrinking. I don't think so. Aging means I finally know what I like and I don't like.
Which we talked about this before, right? And midlife research actually shows clarity increases with age, not confusion. We're not unraveling, we're refining. And we've talked about this and we've had so many examples of this throughout our whole first 3 seasons. It's crazy. But we were programmed to think that.
Exactly. I mean, it's not that we're unstable. We're just updating ourselves. And there's nothing wrong with that, right?
Agree. 1,000%. So you're allowed to change your mind. Let's talk about that because this is the one that hit for both of us, right?
Yes.
And so this is where I think women really get stuck because consistency was praised so heavily when we were growing up.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like you decide and you get it done, right?
Right. But I already told everyone this was the plan, right? Like this was the plan. So you can't change off of that, right?
Right. And here's another book I'm just going to mention.
My research assistant.
There's a book called Think Again by Adam Grant. It has a big takeaway that rethinking isn't weakness, it's intelligence. And I think
that makes sense.
It does. It makes a lot of sense. And, anybody that is really struggling should read the book. It's really, it might really help.
Right. Because staying stuck feels way more damaging to your energy, your person, than changing your mind, right? I do have to say, again, I always go back to what would mom do? And, she would always say, if you're not happy about something, it's up to you to change it. Then change it, nobody else can do it for you. You can change it. And I love, the idea of changing your mind is not a flaky thing. Right. Because, is staying unhappy forever good? Right. It might be dependable to an extent, but even that, like, I couldn't depend on certain people without changing it.
No, and that honestly, that point hits home more than anything, I think, because are you going to live your life unhappy? I mean, come on now.
Right. I mean,
to what end,
To what end? I mean, I had, a 20-year marriage, at the end, I was not happy. Am I going to stay unhappy just because I didn't want to change? I didn't want to be happy. I didn't want some peace in my life. No.
See, I would have. No, just kidding.
I couldn't do it. I tried. I did. I literally tried, but then there comes that resentment, right? Right. Because I'm not being my authentic self. So now I'm going to resent you. And, so resentfulness, seriously, it was a big issue in our marriage too. You know what I mean? Right.
And I didn't realize it until I actually was out of it and reflecting. So it's crazy.
Right. So let's be clear. I mean, we want to unlearn things and unlearn these habits, but we don't want to burn everything down, right?
Right.
It's not about flipping tables and quitting your life next Tuesday,
Right. No, it's actually about thoughtful change, right? Pausing long enough to ask better questions.
Exactly. Am I doing this because I want to or because I've always had to? Does this still fit with who I am? Again, going back to my thing that I'm going through now, like this changing of a career, I just want to take the skills that I have learned throughout my 30 plus years of working and use them in a different way that now fits who I am today, because who I am today is not who I was 10, 15, 20 years ago, right?
No, it's so true. And I think just even asking the question kind of loosens the grip of the rule, right? And so I think, it goes with any generation, right? I know we're focused on Gen X because I keep bringing it up. And
that's who we are.
But I mean, think of our parents' generation and thinking oh my gosh, they're so closed-minded about this, or their ideals are completely different than anything I've ever seen. And then think about our kids who have completely completely opposite of our parents, by the way. And then watching them kind of mend the gap is interesting too. Right. But I think it's some of the rules go from generation to generation, regardless of the social viewpoints, the things that have changed over the generations. But I think there are still some that are just crazy. And with how women should be and should act is one of those things. And it just drives me crazy because it's not just in life, in your personal life, but also in your professional life and how you should, if you act too emotional, you shouldn't be in a, position of leadership. I mean, we've talked about all this before and it just...
Well, I mean, in speaking of leadership, I mean, how many times, there is a woman who sets boundaries. She's a leader. She sets her boundaries. She sets her expectations for her employees. And what is she called? she's a bitch.
Right.
She's a bitch. But if it were a man, he's a great leader. Like, and that still happens in today's times, which is beyond me. Right. You know, and it's still, you know, people are like, well, yeah, you know, she's being a bitch. No. And I have been called a bitch because I do in my professional life set expectations, not only for me, and I'm the first person to set expectations high for me, but for my staff, these are the expectations. If we want this to be.
I've seen that of you. And I've seen that of you also on the other end where you set expectations of your leaders.
Right.
And then when you speak up and are disrespected,
right,
that turns out really poorly.
I get fired.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just face it.
I didn't want to put it all out there, but
well,
I mean,
you know, it's out there.
Like that's a sad state of affairs when you can't even set your boundaries in a very calm and polite and professional way.
Right.
That still speaks volumes. I mean, it is 2026. The fact that, I mean, it was 2025 when that happened, but the fact that that happens to this day is just still very sad to me.
It is, you know, and I don't want anybody changing who they are. And even my daughter, like it's a fine line, you know, I don't worry about this with my son. I'm not going to lie. Like, I don't worry about it, you know. Also, he's like master of debate. So he's good. He's good. But like I find with my daughter, you know, not to be quiet, you know, but you know, it is a hard thing. You have to walk that line of being too vocal because then they're not going to listen to you because they think you're a bitch, and then not being vocal enough because then you're not going to be heard. Yeah. So it's hard.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
You just need it's like rewriting the rules is kind of like, you know, a quiet confidence and fewer explanations, fewer apologies. And, you know, and that's one thing I try to tell her, like, never apologize for being yourself. Like never.
Yeah. You know? And I think we need to keep talking about it, not just with our kids, but with each other, because I think that the easy thing to do is just to follow these old, outdated rules and then think and wonder what's wrong with us if we're not happy with them. You know what I mean? That's what most people do. And it's sad. And we need to like fix that as a community of women, especially.
Right. Exactly.
So yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Right. So let's turn it over to our listeners, right?
Yes.
What are some of the rules that you find that you've grown up with that you still kind of follow, that you are like, oh, I can't do that because, you know, because why? Like, why can't you do that? Like, why do you have to follow this rule? You know?
And think about, let us know. And think about like, what if you didn't follow the rule?
Right. What would happen?
What would happen to you? What would happen personally? Would there be growth in any way? Would you be happier if you didn't? So let us know. I would love to see, because more examples will just get more people on board as well.
Right, exactly. You can hop on the chat board on newroadsnewrules.com and share with us and share with the other women. Again, you can message us on Facebook or Instagram. We just would like to hear what kind of rules are you following that you want to break. What would happen?
Yeah.
Basically.
And don't forget, you can change your mind. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I think that is one of the biggest takeaways too for me, because, you know, just because somebody says consistency is key, or you should get that 9-to-5 job and stay there for 30 years, that doesn't mean that's the right answer for you. You know, you have to weigh the pros and cons, and you have to make the right decision for you, and you have to do what's going to make you happy and what's going to make you thrive.
Absolutely.
And now it's time for the rule of the week.
So that kind of goes along with our rule of the week. You don't have to follow rules that no longer fit the life you're building now. And you don't need approval from the group chat. Like,
right.
And that's the biggest thing I have to learn, I make these decisions because quite frankly, I have made decisions and the worst critics are the people closest to me.
Yeah.
So I can't listen to the chatter, right? I can't. I just have to do what's good for me.
Yeah,
I mean, unless I'm jumping off a cliff. I mean, if you're just like, hey, we got to talk about this.
Don't be too drastic. No, but growth doesn't need permission. So,
right.
And we talked a lot previously about gut feelings and your happiness and all of that. So it really is, if it's a thoughtful change that is going to be better for your life, then do it.
Right. Because you're not behind, you're not being inconsistent, you're evolving. And when you've lived a little like we have, right, you learn to trust yourself more.
Right. And you're allowed to, right? So that's the biggest point. Like, let's be a little selfish here.
Exactly. I mean, it's okay to be selfish sometimes, It is okay to be selfish and do what's best just for you.
Right.
At any stage of your life, any stage of your life.
I agree. And I think the bravest thing you can do is stop living a life that no longer fits you and choose again. Choose it. Choose what you want.
Yeah,
let's redefine ourselves. I mean,
at any stage. And it doesn't have to be major, changes, like just little ones that if something's nagging at you or bothering you, then change it.
You know what I'm going to change? What are you changing? I'm going to be a blonde.
I'll go brunette and we'll really screw everybody up.
Let's mess with people. I'm going to go blonde. You go brunette. You stay curly. I'll stay straight. It'll be fine.
All right. That's what we'll do. All right, folks. Well, we'll update you on that change.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening in and we'll talk to you later.
Yes. We'll see you next time.
But you're my bestie for life.